All right, we'd like to welcome 2023 Open champion Brian Harman to the interview room here at the FedEx St. Jude Championship. Brian, a couple weeks since we've seen you. Might you start with a couple comments about what the last few weeks have been like?
Yeah, they've been a whirlwind. It's nice to get back out on the road. I'm excited for the playoffs. It's awesome being home. Back in my head, though, still wanted to get back to work and really excited to be here.
What'd you do with your time?
Variety of things. Got on the tractor, like I said. Got my place good mowed. I spent some time with my family up at the lake, and probably partied a little too much. So, like I said, nice to get back on the road and get back to work.
And finally, you enter the week at number 6 in the FedEx Cup standings. Just a little bit about the state of your game.
Yeah, it was trending before the Open. Haven't done a lot the last couple weeks, so we're going to be knocking some rust off for a couple days, but I'm hoping to be ready to go by Thursday.
Great. We'll take some questions if you want to raise your hand for a mic. Mark?
Yeah, not everyone at once.
Is with your position at 6, is the goal to win the next couple of weeks, or is it to maintain going into the Tour Championship, try to get closer?
Yeah, I'm going to try to push it as much as I can, try to improve my position every week. Just going to try to play the best golf that I can and see where that winds me up.
Okay. Doug? Can we get a mic to Doug, please?
Why are you laughing?
I was just thinking about a funny comedian bit where he's like, "Say it with your chest." Like, speak up.
What did you, as we look forward to next year, we've all known that 70 was the number down from 125, so you knew what you're up against. But does that seem like the right number to you? And secondly, for the big events next year, there's going to be 4 exemptions. Does that seem like a good number? Too high, too low? What are your thoughts on that? And I'll hang up and listen.
It's hard to know. I'm certainly curious as to how it's going to play out. Obviously, 70 is a hard number. Our tour is very deep. There's a lot of parity. There's a lot of talent. And there's been several years where I wouldn't have been inside the top 70. So it's just really difficult. And I think the tour's in a spot where they're as open-minded as they've ever been as far as being able to change and adjust. And if this doesn't feel right, then I'm confident that we'll get it right. 4 exemptions, I think you have to keep the sponsors happy. I think, exemptions into tournaments are a part of the game. It's the part of the way that the tour operates. So I wish it would just go right down the list and just, be a pure meritocracy, but I understand that there's some gives that you have to, give to the sponsors.
They both the number from 70. Will it be Justin Thomas with?
Well, I was very proud of the way Justin stuck it out, and you could just see the emotion on his face. He wanted to be here very badly, and that just shows his character in the game. They might call it the Justin Thomas rule. I don't know. I wish he was here.
Good, Nick.
Brian, when you were introduced there as Open champion, I saw you kind of crack a smile. I mean, what's the past few weeks been like as that's sunk in?
I will say that life is better as a major champion than not. So it's been a wild ride, man. I've kept a Claire jug right on top of our kitchen counter. My wife's asked me to move it several times, and it's like, no, that's a hard no. It's going to stay right here. So I've caught myself walking by it, looking at it, and be like, damn, man, I still can't believe it happened. So I'm very grateful, very thankful, and it was a very wild experience.
Did over here to your left?
Sorry.
Your other left. Did you get advice from anybody on how to decompress coming off a high like that, or did you just kind of figure it out on your own, or what?
I had a little chat with Scotty Scheffler yesterday. He's always so gracious, just about how he's dealt with. I've always enjoyed going out to dinner when I'm on the road by myself, just going to a hole in the wall place and getting dinner And it's probably going to be a minute before I get to enjoy that again. So there's guys that have to deal with it to a much greater scale than I've had to. So I've asked a few of them how they kind of handle it.
Dave?
Yeah, Brian, when the season began, what was the number in your head? Was it top 70 or was it 50, knowing what 50 meant?
I had a really good start to the fall. It's funny what we do as players. It's like when the cut was at 70, there was always 70 guys, and then when the cut went to 65, it's always 65. So you're constantly battling those like fringe accomplishments, I kind of call them. Like, so for the longest time, like, oh, I got to get inside the top 50 because it changes my whole schedule next year. And then like you get into the top 50 and it's like, well, I got to get to the Tour Championship so I can, have a 2-year exemption, or I can do this or do this. And I keep trying to go back to the same thing of like, well, what I'm really trying to do is play the best possible golf that I can. And when I do that, I'm very successful. And when I don't do that is when I end up struggling for a top 70 or struggling for a top 50 or struggling for a top 100 or whatever it is.
You probably can set your schedule pretty much with the signature events and so forth, but do you, I know this is maybe hard to look at this far in advance, but do you see yourself not playing in some events that you have normally played in because of these pockets of big events now?
Perhaps. It just depends. It would be more because of rest and me being a 36-year-old who's been out here for a long time and played a lot of golf tournaments. The weeks that I take off will be because of rest, not because I don't necessarily want to go to a certain place, because I think everywhere that we stop on tour has a really special environment, and really, I've played almost all of them, and I've enjoyed going to all of them. I enjoy my profession. I like playing golf. I've played 25 to 30 events every year I've been on tour, and I like it. I enjoy it.
Doug?
Two things, Brian. I actually just forgot the first one. Do you feel like a better player than you were a month ago?
No, I don't feel like I definitely didn't yesterday when I was trying to warm up after not hitting balls for a few days. But I'm just really content to try and see what I can do and how good I can get. I felt like when I played my best golf as a junior and amateur that I really wasn't competing against anyone. I was just competing with kind of myself and my standards, and I'm going to keep trying to improve my standards and try to outdo them.
And this will sound like a silly question probably, but at what point from the time you left Hoylake did it actually sink in what you had done?
I'm not, there's like different layers of it sinking in. It's like, so I go visit my family. We rented a lake house, and after a few days, I started feeling kind of normal. And then I go home, and I have this, just overwhelming support, and they greet me at the airport. And so it's like, well, then it takes a few days for that to sink in. And then yesterday, I come out here to hit balls, and I was seeing all, my fellow players, and it's the first time I'd seen them, and everyone's, congratulate me. So it'll be another few days to try to let all that sink in.
What's been to you the most memorable moment you've had with that little trophy?
I think I've had several. I mean, we had a moment. My agent and I, Jeremy Elliott, he's been very instrumental to my success, and we had a moment together. We got done partying Sunday night, and we were getting picked up at 3 a.m. for our flight, and it's 1:30, and I'm like, do we go to bed? He goes, no, we're not going to bed. Are you crazy? So it's just him and I in the jug, sipping a cold beer at 1:30 in the morning, just like, man, look how cool is this? And then flying home and having so many buddies and friends and people there to greet me when I got back, just that kind of stuff, just it means a lot.
Has anyone ever greeted you at the airport before? You mentioned that yesterday.
I mean, other than like my mom with some balloons coming home from some junior tournament, no. Well, yeah, my wife and kids, they greet me all the time.
What happened yesterday?
Say what?
What happened yesterday?
Yesterday?
Yeah. Wasn't there someone at the airport?
Oh, yeah. It's autograph guys at the airport yesterday. How do they know?
Who you were or that you were there?
That I was there. I mean, we flew up. I flew with Harris English's family. He came over from Greensboro, and I flew up from St. Simons. And, yeah, it's a new experience. People kind of recognizing me.
Mark?
Did you ever hear from Kirby Smart?
Yes, I heard from Kirby. He's a hell of a guy, like Kirby. Like, I've always admired successful people that are able to maintain and just keep attacking their success with like just total vigor. So it's always nice to hear from Kirby.
All good. Any other questions for Brian? Doug?
I think I'm all set. You got anything you want to add?
Anything I want to add? I didn't know you were a Bruin.
I think,
Yeah.
we'll go back to Nick.
Brian, given everything that's happened over the past 2 months, do you think that Jay Monahan should keep his job?
I think Jay is a very qualified, a very qualified leader for our organizations. Without Jay Monahan, I don't know if we make it through COVID. His leadership and his bravery through that. I mean, we were the only sport operating, and I can remember we were on the range and in Connecticut, and it's peak COVID, and there was guys that were, going down left and right. Like, this guy's positive. The world was scared. We were all scared. And we hear Jay's flying up, and I was like, well, that's it. We tried. He's going to shut it down. And he gets up there in front of everybody and plows ahead. And he caught heat for that. He's like, no, this is the way forward. We have to stay operating or we're going to be toast. And he was right. So I think Jay deserves a pretty long leash.
If you could make a request or make a change right now, what would that be?
In what regard? To the tour or to golf?
To the tour, like to the structure of the tour, going forward with the proposed deal.
I'd like for us to have access to cold plunges in the locker room. That'd be the change I'd like.
Was that based off of what happened at the Open Championship? You took advantage of that, didn't you?
Yeah, they did a really nice job providing some more therapy stuff. So that would be what I would like going forward.
Okay, we'll wrap it up with Doug.
With the meeting today with Jay, what one question would you have for him, or what one detail would you like to know?
Yeah, I think an important question is I believe that Jay had ultimate authority at all times as far as negotiating and stuff like that, and he knew that his reputation was going to take a major hit if they went forward. And so my question would just be, why didn't he stop it? Knowing that his reputation was going to take a hit.
Why did he let it continue? Okay.
And in my mind, I think he believed that it was the best thing going forward, and that's why he did it.
Okay. Brian, thanks so much for your time. Best
Thank
of
you.
luck this week.
Appreciate it.